health lovers, so it's your student nurse V, and today we are going to be talking about one of the glands of the endocrine system. So in our last video we introduced the endocrine system and we also talked about the pituitary gland. So today we are going to be talking about the adrenal gland. Now the adrenal gland is otherwise known as the suprarenal gland, and this adrenal gland are triangular in shape and they lie on the upper sides of each kidneys, and they are also enclosed in a renal fascia. So the length of the adrenal gland is about 4 to 6 cm. The weight of the adrenal gland is about 4 to 5 grams. Then it has a thickness of about 1 cm. Now that takes us to the divisions of the adrenal gland. So the adrenal gland is divided into two. We have the adrenal cortex, which is the outer layer, and we have the adrenal medulla, which is the inner layer. Now let's talk about the adrenal cortex. Now the adrenal cortex is the outer layer of the adrenal glands, and it has three zones. We have the zona glomerulosa, which secretes mineralocorticoids, and example of the mineralocorticoids is the aldosterone. Then we have the second zone, which is the zona fasciculata. So the zona fasciculata is the middle layer of the adrenal gland, and it secretes glucocorticoids. Example is the cortisol. So they are generally called the cortisol. Now the last zone in the adrenal cortex is called zona reticularis. So the zona reticularis secretes sex hormones, which are generally called the androgens. So these hormones that are secreted by the adrenal cortex through the zones, the three zones of the adrenal cortex, are generally called the steroid hormones. So these steroid hormones, they are derived from the cholesterol. So now let's talk about the adrenal medulla. So the adrenal medulla is surrounded by the cortex. So the adrenal medulla is the inner part of the adrenal gland and is surrounded by the cortex. Now the adrenal medulla secretes water-soluble hormones. Now take note, the cortex secretes steroid hormones and this one secretes water-soluble hormones. Now the hormone secreted by the adrenal medulla is responsible for flight and fight responses. So should in case there's a situation, or let's say for an example, there is an outbreak of fire in a building, that hormones that triggers a person to try to escape from that building, that hormones are generated from the adrenal medulla. So let's list the hormones. So we have the adrenaline, otherwise known as the epinephrine, and we have the noradrenaline, otherwise known as the norepinephrine. So these two hormones are responsible for fight and flight responses. Now let's talk about the organs in association. So organs in association, remember that two adrenal glands lies on the upper part of each kidney. So below the adrenal gland, that is inferior to the adrenal glands, we have the kidneys. So now moving forward, we are going to be talking about the blood supply. So blood supply is classified into two. We have the arterial blood supply and we have the venous drainage. Now the arterial blood supply, what supplies blood to these adrenal glands? So we have the renal arteries. So the renal artery supplies blood to the kidney and also supplies blood to the adrenal glands. Now we also have the venous drainage. So the venous drainage is through the renal veins. So the same vein that is draining blood from the kidney also drains blood from the adrenal gland. Now we talk about the nerve supply. We have the sympathetic and parasympathetic. You may ask, what is the sympathetic and what is this parasympathetic? The sympathetic is a nerve that starts an action of an organ. It starts the contraction or whatever of the organ. So that is called the sympathetic nerve fibers. So the parasympathetic nerve stops an action. So the sympathetic stimulates an action and the parasympathetic stops the action. So that is all for the adrenal glands. Thank you for watching, and do well to like, subscribe and share. In my next video, I'm going to be talking about another gland of the endocrine system. Thank you very much, and do well to form your notes on the adrenal gland. Thank you. Bye.